My name is Juliana, and on April 8th, 2016, I was diagnosed with acute promyelocytic leukemia. This is something I never, ever thought would happen to me. I lived a very healthy lifestyle, always have, exercised, ate right, organic, all that stuff. Just never thought cancer would be something that would enter into my life. Well, let's rewind a little bit, because my husband and I, we got married in 2008. We wanted to wait a little while to have kids, so we traveled the world, and then came a point when it was time to start trying. And we started trying, and we started trying, and kept trying, and kept trying, and we weren't getting anywhere. And every month, negative pregnancy test, and then I started to go to a reproductive endocrinologist to see about fertility treatments. So back in 2015, in the spring, we went through 3 rounds of fertility treatments. They weren't unsuccessful, and so we just stopped trying for a little bit and just gave it up to God and said, you know, if we never have kids, we're happy together, we're best friends, and if we just get each other in this life, we'll be okay. And then, October, God worked His miracles, and we got pregnant on our own. And that was an extremely joyous time. We couldn't believe it. After all this journey of 4.5 years trying and failed fertility treatments, we finally were getting our little miracle. So we told family and friends, and everybody was so excited. And so we just celebrated a lot. And the first trimester was a little rough, lots of sickness, but it was all worth it. And then we fast forward a little bit until I was 23 weeks pregnant, and I got the flu. I had a fever, it wouldn't go away. I tried all different kinds of things. I texted the doctor, tried to see what was going on, and she told me to go into her office for a checkup. So I went in, and I had a high fever, and my heart rate was really fast, and so she admitted me to the hospital for observation. I went there, 24 hours, they checked me, my fever went down, I went back home, and then the next day I started getting fever again. So I called again to see, what was going on, what should I do? And during this time I was getting a lot of blood work done, because in pregnancy you get lots of blood work. So all this blood work was showing some irregularities in my levels of folates and just white blood cells, hemoglobin, all these things were just off. And that can happen in pregnancy, so it wasn't so much of a bother. But with this fever that wasn't going away, I got admitted to the hospital, and a doctor who saw my blood results and saw my history right away, his eyes got big, and he's like, we need to get a bone marrow biopsy done. I was just thinking it was some kind of form of anemia, which is really common in pregnancy, and so I didn't think much of it. So I was in the hospital, got the bone marrow biopsy. I was told that it was going to be about a week or so before we had the final results, so I wasn't worried. Well, that night, at 9:30 at night, a doctor came in, and I was there with my husband and my parents, and we were all lighthearted, just talking, and she knew by the mood in the room that we hadn't gotten the news yet. And so she said, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you have leukemia. But it was weird, she said those words and it felt out of body, but I had this peace about me. And of course it was like a punch to the gut for my husband and my parents. And they stood by my bedside just like a deer in headlights. But just this peace came over me. And I was like, I'm gonna be okay. And my baby's gonna be okay. And so, we asked questions, and the oncologist came in. He actually was on his way home to Miami Beach to his family. He got the call of my diagnosis, he turned around and he came back, and they both sat at my bedside until 1 o'clock in the morning, explaining to us, what was ahead and what treatment would look like and how often it would be. And so we actually started treatment right when they left the room. They explained to us that the type of leukemia it was is very aggressive, but it's also very curable. And so treatment had to start right away. And of course, I'm concerned because I'm 23 weeks pregnant, what about my baby? And they assured me that if we didn't act now, that she wouldn't make it if I wouldn't make it. And so we needed to start treatment, and we needed to go forward. So, we just trusted. We trusted that God brought us to this doctor, to this place for this time. And so we were like, okay, we're just going to step out in faith. And in this whole journey, we've said, we're going to glorify God. And this story is much bigger than we are. And so we started this blog 2 years ago to talk about our journey, because so oftentimes people are ashamed of infertility, or they just don't know how to talk about it. It's a bit taboo. And so we created this blog as a community to come together, for people to feel like they're not alone in this world and in this fight. And so this was just another step of that journey, a crazy step that we were not foreseeing at all. But it was it. So we went through treatments, her and I. We went through 2 rounds of chemo. We were inpatient in the hospital for a month and a half. And she is just such a fighter. There was a time that in the first round, I got a reaction to one of the chemotherapies, and I started to just cough up blood, and it was crazy. I couldn't get any air. I felt like I couldn't take a breath. And so they admitted me to the ICU. I was there for a week. And so we spent a week in bed. I wasn't allowed to get out. There was pumps full of all these kinds of medicines and x-rays and tests and all these things. And then finally it cleared up, and I got sent back to my oncology floor, and just continued with treatments. And she is just untouched. And all the tests that came back, they were showing that she was doing really great. And so then I did round 2, again with her inside me, and we fought through that for a week in the hospital, and my numbers were coming back really good. We both were looking great, and so then we were able to take a break, and I was able to celebrate our baby and have a baby shower and all these things that I had missed while in the hospital. And we got to celebrate with family and friends and just prepare for her upcoming arrival. And then on July 10th, I went into the hospital to get induced, and 2 days later at 4:17 in the morning, our little miracle arrived. Juliana Love Guevara, and she was just perfect in every way. Everything was perfect. We were just so amazed. She was a little 4 pounds, 10 ounces. She was good to me because I had her naturally, and it was just amazing. We couldn't believe that we were actually holding this miracle in our arms. This life that we've waited 4.5 years for was finally here. And it still is overwhelming, and we can't express our gratitude enough. The community around us has been amazing. That's been one thing that's really kept us going, is all the prayers and support, financial, just emotional, being there, people coming and cleaning our house. It's just been such a blessing. And so to have all these blessings poured on us, we're just eternally grateful. And every day we have to look at each other and say, wow, we actually get to keep her. She's here. Everything we prayed for, she's here.